Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So as usual today, let's go over the stock market, see what happened with Tesla, the SPY, the QQQ, all that stuff. Pretty bloody day, pretty gruesome day actually. I would even say like a lot of things are red, and yeah, let's just kind of figure out what happened, why it happened, what to expect, what's next, all that good stuff. So if you guys enjoyed the video, find it useful, informative, whatever, don't forget to hit that like button. Helps a lot, guys. I do appreciate it. But let's just get right into it. So Tesla ending the day down just over 5% at $795.35. SPY in the Nasdaq ending the day down 1.25% and 2.07% respectively, or I guess the QQ, which I guess is technically the Nasdaq. Anyway, so what happened with Tesla? So we broke under the 800 level and we closed under the 800 level. That's the most like important thing, I guess. We haven't closed under the 800 level that often. We did it over here. I think this one closed actually. Yeah, this closed above 800. This is the second time in a while that we've closed under 800. One of them being over here, of course, is 760. This is a big one. I think this one, yeah, this one's 801. Oh, sorry, this was 821. Yes, this is the second day now of all these candles here that we've closed under 800. So it's pretty spooky, I'm not gonna lie, but we'll see what happens. So on the 1 hour, you can see, I mean, this is kind of what I was talking about yesterday, right? This is where we started today, and this was yesterday's close. And I was talking about how like best case scenario I can see is the gap fill, but that's like, and I said that's like a realistic best case scenario. Obviously, that didn't happen. We couldn't even push that far up. That just showed how little buying pressure there was. As we pushed down, it danced around this line quite a bit. You can see I had this line drawn here like this, right? It's essentially showing that, it's showing the ascending, like the ascending part of it, if you will. Like in this case, it was a bear flag. And then the second we broke down, you can see we broke down the 1 hour, couldn't do it. The next hour came in, we actually pushed up a bit and whatnot, but then we just kind of danced around this like 815, like 816 level for quite a while actually. For this hour especially, and then we finally broke down. And then as we broke down, one thing I'm surprised we didn't get a bounce up to retest this. I really thought that we would break down and then bounce back up and then come back down like this again. Like I thought it would be like an extremely volatile day where we're literally going to go up like this. Instead, we actually just came down and just pretty much chilled down. If anything, just continued bleeding just a lot slower, and ending the day under 800, which isn't ideal, but it's not like the worst thing in the entire world. So taking a look at the moving averages, you can see the 200 moving average, of course, hard rejecting us right here. Again, I don't put a lot of weight on it. A lot of people do, so take it as you will. Let's remove this line because this line is done. But yeah, so essentially, what is going to happen next? Like, what can we expect going forward? Well, I would start looking for this level here, this like 782 level, 780 level. That's the next level I would look for it to hold. As long as 782 holds, and ideally we don't drop below whatever this was, which I think was 782.17. As long as we don't drop below that, I do think we can bounce up and then look for a nice little bounce, maybe like Monday or Tuesday or something like that. The issue is Mondays tend to mimic Fridays. Not all, again, it's not one of those things like I always say. It's like it's not all the time, but it's not uncommon where Mondays follow Fridays. So in this case, if this Friday was obviously quite bloody, sometimes Mondays like to be bloody as well, and then Tuesdays are usually the opposite of Mondays. That's like what I've noticed, I guess. Again, not every single time, but it does happen more often than you would think. So we'll see what happens Monday. Monday maybe will be the day where we come and retest this low right here. Let's put a line there actually, so we can kind of get a better idea of tracking it and whatnot. Somewhere around there is what I would expect. Retest that low right there, see what happens with that, and then hopefully bounce off of that. And then what you want to see essentially is push up and break above 800 and start turning 800 back into supports. If we don't, and we come back here, go up here, and then we can go back down here. That's another possibility. So essentially I'm expecting a drop here into a push up, and then hopefully this will be the bottom, or we can drop down here, probably bounce. Like I'll be surprised if we don't bounce to 780. Like I'd be surprised if we don't touch it, and I'd also be surprised if we at least don't bounce off of it a little bit. Somewhere around this like 780 something level, give or take in that 80s range. And then at least come to retest the 800, like, probably Monday or something like that. And then, of course, off of that, we will see what happens. But again, either we bounce off this 780-ish, retest 800, either fail and probably drop back down to like 760, or succeed, break above 800, and then turn 800 into support. Those are the two things I'm essentially going to be watching for, early-ish next week. I think Jerome Powell is speaking next week. I think we have an FOMC meeting like Wednesday or Thursday or something like that. We'll see what happens with that. Of course, that could be, who knows what'll happen with that. But that's essentially what I'm seeing right now, guys. A little bit of a shorter video today, but let's go over the indices very quickly. Same concept you can see here, guys. They were both forming the bear flag. I did talk about that, and they both broke down under the bear flag. So in theory, though, this is a pretty It doesn't seem like the pain is done for these bear flags. Again, usually you want to just measure the pull roughly. I would argue it started here. I'd argue it started here. So like, there is a chance we drop down to like 400 on the SPY. Like, I'm not gonna lie, there's definitely a chance that's a 400 drop, which from here would be another like 3%. Okay, that's not as bad as I thought. I thought it would be more than that for some reason. I don't know why, but another like maybe 3% to 4% drop on the SPY wouldn't surprise me. In all honesty, would not surprise me. Same with this bad boy right here. You know, if we do like this rough thing right here, we broke under from here. Same thing here, yeah. Right, 5%, like about a 5% on the QQQ. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we drop somewhere around there, like maybe like 310 on the QQQ or something like that. No, not 310, maybe 310, 315, 310, something like that. Like, that wouldn't be too surprising. But again, I do expect at least a bounce. Like, you know, like I always say, whenever there's a big sell-off, usually it's followed up with at least a bounce, whether it's a dead cat bounce or a recovery bounce, who knows, but a bounce nonetheless. So I wouldn't be surprised with a bounce Monday or Tuesday. I definitely think by Tuesday we'll have a bounce at least. But we'll see what happens around that time. So that's essentially what I'm seeing, guys, right now. Again, not a whole lot to say. I mean, you know, look in the weekly. It's a Friday. I like to look on the weeklies. On the Fridays, of course, as usual. Nothing too crazy here either, honestly. Like, you know, we kind of came up. Couldn't really, you know, there's just a lot of selling pressure around this area, I'm telling you. And then we just pretty much closed pretty low on the weekly over here. You can see the MACDs crossing to the downside. RSIs kind of pointing downwards. It's making new lows, actually, too, kind of over here. Yeah. Pretty much new lows as well, even though we didn't go actually lower than this, which isn't like ideal in all honesty. So it's not looking like the healthiest weekly chart ever, which is why, again, I wouldn't be surprised if next week is also a little bit of a weak week, like not a strong week. And we essentially dropped to like 760. Like, I would not be shocked whatsoever if we dropped to 760, like at all. Like, that would not surprise me whatsoever. Realistic worst case is 730. Will we drop below 700 is the big question. Right now, I honestly don't know. I mean, if we do, it'll probably be like 650. Will that happen though? I don't know. Hard to say. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It's looking a little weak right now because we broke under this teal line. So there's gonna be some weakness for sure. Are we gonna drop into the 600s? That's the question still though. We'll see what happens. We'll see how the stock moves. I don't like predicting that far out because it's a little too far out in my opinion. I like to look at it on like a weekly basis usually. What I try to predict the week. That's how I like to play things. That's the way that usually works for me. I like to look at, you know, what's gonna happen this week, or in this case, I guess next week. And then that's it. I'll worry about the week after that next time, or like, you know, when it comes, or right before it starts, or something like that. Right now, I'm trying to play the next week, and I want to figure out what's going to happen next week. And that's essentially what I'm seeing, guys. So let me know what you think down below. Again, either a drop down here, bounce up, fail, drop down to somewhere around this area, succeed, turn 800 to support, and then start looking for another push back up. Again, if I had to put the odds, I think the odds are higher in the fact that we failed at 800 and probably drop down to like 760 or something like that. If I had to, like, you know, put a percentage on it, maybe like 70%. That I think that happens, and like 30% we break above 800 and turn it into support once again. But that's essentially what I'm seeing right now, guys. We'll see what happens come Monday. I think Monday might be another little bit of a painful day, but I do think Tuesday could be a turnaround day. So if Tuesday's a turnaround day, I'll be looking to sell calls for the week. But either way, thanks for watching, guys. See you for the next one. Peace.